Rage of the Abyss is officially releasing in less than a week, but how good is it? How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about Rage of the Abyss. The full set list has finally been released and we know how good this set is actually going to be. Your OTSs should be having their sneak peek events this weekend, either today or tomorrow, so make sure to go and get your chances to win the playmat, the field centers, and get a couple of packs of Rage of the Abyss before the set even officially drops. Now, we all know that Rage of the Abyss is going to be one of the best sets of the year and possibly even more impactful than its predecessor, the Infinite Forbidden. So in this video, I'm going to go over Rage of the Abyss and talk about the best cards in the set so you know what cards to look for when you're opening it. And I'll even let you know if you should buy it sealed. But first, make sure to smash the like button if you're excited for Rage of the Abyss. If this video hits 200 likes, I'll bring you the ultimate guide on how to beat Azamina Snake Eyes, so make sure to hit the like button if you want that video. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel for more amazing Yu-Gi-Oh videos. But with that being said, it's time for us to find out just how good is Rage of the Abyss. Let's jump into it. Rage of the Abyss has 101 cards, including 50 commons, 26 super rares, 14 ultra rares, and 10 secret rares. Rhoda introduces some really cool new archetypes like Primite, Metalmorph, and Azamina, as well as support for existing ones like Six Samurai and Mimighoul. But the main archetypes in this set are Azamina, Fiendsmith, Primite, Metalmorph, Six Samurai, Mermail Atlantean, Shark, and the TCG exclusive archetype Mimighoul. There are so many other archetypes that are also receiving support in Rage of the Abyss, but these 8 are the main ones in my opinion. But there are also some amazing generic cards that I'll also be covering too. But with that being said, let's explore a few of the archetypes in Rage of the Abyss, starting with Azamina. The Azamina cards in the set are Azamina Murasalago, Azamina Moa Regina, Azamina Ilia Sylvia, Azamina Sol Erisichthon. I really hope I pronounced all those right because wow, those names are not easy for me to say. Deception of the Sinful Spoils as a secret rare, the Hallowed Azamina, Azamina Debtors, Azamina Determination, and Guilt of the Sinful Spoils. The Azamina cards are one of the major archetypes of the set. They mix well with so many different strategies, but the main reason why the engine is so splashable is because this small engine can set up an Omni Negate with Ilia Silva. Resalago can also search for any Sinful Spoils cards, which means a single copy of Deception, the only secret rare of the archetype, can be full Snake Eye Fiendsmith combo. It's also a great pairing next to the White Forest cards from the Infinite Forbidden, giving them even more extenders and interruptions without losing to cards like Dimensional Barrier. Now, there are going to be some random pure Azamina decks floating around, just like there were some random pure Fiendsmith decks, but neither of these decks is a real strategy, they're just both engines, and hopefully Azamina becomes significantly less expensive than it currently is because it's one of the only ways to get a generic Omni Negate on the field. The new Fiendsmith cards in Rage of the Abyss are Lacrima, the Crimson Tears, and Fiendsmith Agnum Dei. Now, while there are only 2 new Fiendsmith cards, they actually have a pretty big impact on the Fiendsmith engine. Well, while Agnum Dei is fine and works well in a pure Fiendsmith deck, the real star of the show is Lacrima the Crimson Tears. It's always treated as a Fiendsmith card and is now the main target to summon off of Requiem's effect, because on summon, it can send a Fiendsmith card from deck to graveyard like Engraver. This gives the deck access to 1 more Light Fiend monster as part of their combo, which means they can use it for the fusion summon of Desiree, which we all know is one of the strongest cards in the Fiendsmith deck. Lacrima does have a second effect to summon itself out on the opponent's turn, but it really isn't that great unless you're also playing Agnum Dei, which, like I said already, isn't the most common choice in the extra deck for strategies using the Fiendsmith as an engine. But Lacrima is a level 4 Light Fiend monster, which means you can normal summon it out. So just hard drawing it and normal summoning it isn't bad at all because it does get your full combo going. The inclusion of Lacrima the Crimson Tears makes the engine even better than it already was, and makes me even happier that the Fusion Lacrima is banned. The Primite archetype is also releasing in this set, including Primite Imperial Dragon, Primite Lordly Load, Primite Drillbeam, Primite Roar, and Primite Howl. The Primite cards are a strategy that basically revolves around normal monsters and has a really interesting playstyle. Its boss monster, Primite Imperial Dragon, can normal summon itself by tributing a normal monster, then negate all face-up monsters your opponent controls, then banish them based on the type or attribute of normal monsters in your graveyard. The deck does lock you out of using special summon monster effects on the field for the turn if you use the Searcher Lordly Load to special summon a normal monster. But there are always other ways you can use the archetype that don't involve special summons. Howl is basically Change of Heart while it's in the graveyard, and Roar is an E-Telly for vanilla monsters and can non-target banish a card. Primite looks so cool to me, but it's definitely missing something to make it a strong enough deck for competitive play. Next up is the Metalmorph archetype, starting off with Max Metalmorph, Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon, Metal Illusionist, Metal Zoa X, Zoa the Fiendish Beast, and Time Engine. The Metalmorph cards are really interesting and are retrains of the original Metalmorph cards from back in early Yu-Gi-Oh's history. And while there are quite a few different cards part of the archetype, the most important ones are easily Max Metalmorph and Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon, because these two cards are how you take the engine and turn it into an Omni Negates. Oh, and Full Metal Dragon is a Red Eyes monster, which means it can be searched with Black Metal Dragon, so Dragon decks just got a whole lot better for only a 2-card inclusion. Basically, any deck can normal summon Black Metal Dragon, link it away, and use the effect to search for Darkness Metal Dragon, banish the link 1 monster to summon Darkness Metal, and use the effect to bring back Black Metal Dragon. Link them both away for Spheres or Romulus or any other Link 2 monster, and search again with Black Metal Dragon for Full Metal Dragon. Then Full Metal Dragon sets Max Metalmorph from the deck, which can then summon out the Full Metal, giving you the Omni Negates. The other Metalmorph cards are fine, but I really don't expect them to see any play. Six Samurai is getting 5 new cards, including Legendary Lord Six Samurai Shien, Legendary Lord Six Samurai Inishi, Anarchist Monk of the Six Samurai, Tactical Trainer of the Six Samurai, and 6 Strike Double Assault. The 6 Sam cards are, for what it's worth, really good. The synchros are strong, Shien gives you a monster negate to pair with the original Shien spell trap negate, and Inishi on summon can bounce card back to the hand. The 2 new tuners are also great because they're extenders and also provide advantage or chain blocking when sent to graveyard. Monk searches for a 6 Sam quick play, and Trainer searches for a 6 Strike card. The new quick play spell 6 Strike Double Assault is also really good at letting you flood the field and is also Book of Moon. I just don't think that 6 Sam is good enough in Yu-Gi-Oh today to be a strong competitive deck, but it does look really fun. Mermails and Atlanteans also got new support, including Mermail King Neptibus, Mermail Shadow Squad, Abyss Rhine the Atlantean Spirits, Poseidra Abyss the Atlantean Dragon Lord, and Abyss Sting Triana. The new Mermail cards are good and they support a fan favorite archetype, but I don't see them making a significant meta impact. Poseidra Abyss is incredible as it lets you trigger your Atlantean effects while also being a non-targeting bounce to the hand. Shadow Squad is an extender that also makes it easier to get rank 7 water monsters on the field, and the new Link monster Neptibus is also really good because you can easily access any of your Abyss equip spells. But in my mind, Abyss Rhine is really what brings the deck together, letting you trigger multiple Atlantean monster effects while also getting your combo started. I really like the archetype, but as long as Azamina and Fiendsmith decks are around, I just don't see Mermail being a top tier deck. But after that, I can definitely see it performing well. And I'm still betting that we get an Atlantean structure deck in the not so distant future. Sharks are also getting a ton of new support, including Drake Shark, Armored Shark, Surfacing Big Jaws, Le Virtue Dragon, number C32 Shark Drake Levice, Aqua Jet Surface, Reincarnation Unveiling Male, Virtue Stream, Puppet Shark, and Xyz Poseidon Splash. Sharks have the cover card and are the main archetype of this set. They're a fan favorite deck that is actually well positioned this format specifically because you can easily make number 4 Stealth Kraken, making everything a water monster, which means Tenpai monsters aren't protected by the field spell, and your opponent can't even summon Fiendsmith Requiem either. But honestly, without the new Tachyon card, specifically Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy, the Sharks won't be meta relevant. But because so many decks are required to have specific attributes, they're a decent anti-meta pick. We have 7 new Mimighoul cards, including Giant Mimighoul, Mimighoul Throne, Mimighoul Charm, Mimighoul Fairy, Mimighoul Slime, Mimighoul Armor, and Mimighoul Fork. Almost every single one of these 7 cards are amazing. The only one I don't really think is that good is Armor, but with the new support, Maker is now full combo, if you choose Dragon and Archfiend that is. Throne gives you access to Master at almost any time, and Charm can rip cards out of your opponent's extra deck, while Fairy, Slime, and Armor all give the deck real extenders. The deck can also play Shifter and doesn't really lose to Fuwalos, which will be everywhere in this upcoming format. I actually expect Mimighoul to be the best performing archetype of the set, other than Azamina and Fiendsmith in this upcoming format. Now there are some other decks that are receiving support that I didn't talk about, but they're nothing to laugh at. Centurion has 2 new names, 1 Synchro in Centurion Primera Primus and 1 main deck monster in Chimera. Primera Primus searches for emblemic cards on summon, which is great. Goblin Bikers have the new badass Goblin Biker, the new TCG name for it, which is Goblin Bikers Gone Wild, and Goblin Biker Grand Breakout, which is an e-telly for the deck. Battle Wasps also got new synchros, including Grand Partisan the Revolution, and Tenpai Dragon technically gets support in Sankin Furo, but that card is awful. But those are just the archetypes. What about other good generic cards in the set? Well, Molcharmi Fuwalos is going to warp the format around this card. there are so many decks that are just completely decimated by this card existing, letting your opponent draw every time you summon from deck or extra deck, and they can still pair it with Pirellia to get draws when you summon from the hand. It's also going to be incredibly expensive. Pre-sales are like $150 right now for a single copy of this card, and while I think it'll go down, it's still likely going to be at least $100. The good news is that there are technically outs to this card, specifically Ash Blossom, Call By, Crossout, and I guess Droll if your deck doesn't really care about Droll too much. Now obviously you have to draw those cards for them to work, but I'm trying to look on the bright side here, and a reprint of Fuwalas can't come soon enough. Dominus Impulse is also a really good card and will see meta play, but only in decks that only use Fire, Dark, and Water monsters. Fire King Courtier Ulcanix is an amazing card that allows Fire King to better play as a pure deck without the Snake Eye or Fiendsmith cards. Part of the Blue Eyes is support for the Millennium archetype and makes the deck definitely a lot better. I like the archetype a lot, and it doesn't lose to either Molcharmy card, and it can play Shifter, but it doesn't make the deck good enough to compete this format. Scourge of the White Forest is an easy access negate that lets them keep bodies on the field. Heavy Cavalry of the Indestructible Insects is a TCG exclusive that is finally a good payoff for insect decks. Final Bringer of the End Times may look unassuming, but its quick effect targeted destruction that also protects the user from opposing targeted negation. It won't be incredible, but I do see it seeing play eventually. Succumbing Song Morganite is the sequel to Time Tearing Morganite. Now it's not as good as its predecessor, but people did get excited about it. Oh, and Firestorms over Atlantis is not a bad card at all, specifically in decks like Fire King because it gives you card advantage while also starting your combo. And lastly is Memento Akahiron. This card is fantastic in the Memento strategy and really makes the deck able to play through so many more hand traps. This card will be one of the reasons why Memento Fiendsmith is going to be one of the 5 or so best decks in the format. So what do I think about this set? Well, the secret rares are all obviously incredible, from Fuwalas to Dominus Impulse to Ulcanix to Deception. These cards are all incredibly powerful and all really expensive. Like at the time of recording, Fuwalas is pre-selling at $150, which is crazy. Now I don't think that any of these cards are going to be as expensive as they are right now, but I do think we're going to have another Age of Overlord situation where we're going to have multiple cards being over $50 a copy, and we're also going to have at least one card, maybe even two, that are at least $100 a copy. And that really sucks because Rage of the Abyss is going to be so incredibly impactful on the meta, because it releases 2 new hand traps in Fuwalas and Dominus Impulse. Just think back to a format before Ash Blossom and Infinite Impermanence were so widely available. The players that had access to these powerful meta staples were in such a much more commanding position to win a duel compared to those that didn't have them. It's going to be the exact same thing with Fuwalas and Impulse. Now, do you have to have these cards to win in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh in 2024? No, you don't, but I do think it gives you a significant advantage if you do have them rather than if you didn't. And what makes all of this worse is that YCS Niagara is happening the day after this set officially releases. They did it with the NAWCQ and Infinite Forbidden, and they're doing it again right now. This means that every single card in the set is going to be so much more expensive because there are so many more people that are going to want these cards for this high level event. That's just the wrong way to handle it if you're Konami, in my opinion. But there you have it, you now have everything you need to know about Rage of the Abyss. But let me know down in the comments, are you planning on buying this product sealed? Personally, I'll be buying one box and seeing if I get lucky. Maybe I'll get a second one, but I doubt it. If I get lucky, great. If I don't, so be it. It is what it is. But for you guys, I'd recommend honestly trying to find decks that can compete as like an anti-meta pick if you don't want to spend the hundreds and hundreds of dollars it's going to take to buy all these meta staples coming from this set. Also, next weekend is YCS Niagara, and I'm actually going to be there. It's going to be my first ever YCS experience, and I'm so damn excited for it. It's going to be a great time, and I cannot wait to see all of you guys. So if you see me, come and say hi. I don't bite, okay? I would love to see all of you and just get to know some of my viewers. So make sure to come say hi if you do see me. Anyways, if you made it this far in the video, do me a favor and smash the like button. Remember, if we hit 200 likes on the video, I'll be bringing you the ultimate guide on how to beat Azamina Snake Eye. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time.